Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 53 of the Fanatic Sports Podcast. Very, very excited to be here. Very excited to have 52 opportunities to get it right. And Tom, by 54, I think we're going to get there.
Sounds good.
Very excited to have everyone joining us thus far. We are live on all 5 platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. What up, Tyron? I got my man Tyron in the on Instagram. So for those who are wondering, this handsome face, not mine, the other one, is our man Tom Sutera from Rain or Shine Sports Network. Tom, how are you, man?
I'm doing really good, thanks. Excited to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you here. Now, you're on the West Coast, so I believe I see a bit of sunlight, or either you got really good lighting, but
I got good lighting
still. Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I got good lighting.
Well, it's prime time out there on your end of the world.
It is, yeah, yep.
Well, we are. So I'll tell you a little bit about me before we get started. So Tom, I'm based in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Okay.
And I'm originally from Little Rock, Arkansas. So I've been down here about 5 years. It is, it's near, to be honest with you, it's near my bedtime. I kid, I don't actually sleep. But man, listen, a pleasure to have you with us. I'll say it 100 times before the night's over, man, but I can't thank you enough for joining us. Definitely looking forward to what I think will be a pretty fun time. Okay. So, all right. So here's what we got to do. Before we get going on the day or on our episode, the first thing we got to do, we can start with you telling us a little bit about Rain or Shine Sports Network.
Well, I kind of created this. It's been a little over a year now. I'd love to be doing much more of things and things like that. And talk to you a little bit beforehand. There is a lot of time that goes into it, and it takes a while to do this. So my son and I have, we love football, especially with him and I. And so we started doing this, and I started looking at doing it on Facebook and doing kind of a local scores and results and stuff like that around our area, trying to build things up and wanting to do several just casts along the way as well with live streaming and stuff like that. And I'm kind of a busy person to start with, so it's hard to nail down those times. And I know consistency and putting a good product together is important to be able to do things. So still trying to figure all that out. So, getting on here with you and I'll probably be picking your brain saying, what do you do? How do you do this and everything else? But, just something that I'd like to do more of. And like I said, my son and I have a really good time with it and have not a huge following, but we got a few people out there already that kind of follow us and just like to have a good time with it.
Well, hey man, listen, you've made it a whole year. We just celebrated probably about 5 weeks ago. A little over 5 weeks ago, we celebrated our 1 year anniversary of the podcast. Now, I've had this social media platform for nearly 5 years, but I've only been turning on the camera now for about a year, a little over a year. Okay. And I'll tell you, if you made it thus far, you're off to a good start. And I know I'm trying to remember exactly how I ran across your network. I think it was Facebook, or I think it might have been Instagram, and I saw it and it took me to Facebook. But whatever it is, man, you're doing something right if I find you.
Well, that's good. That's good.
It's a positive start. So we call ourselves the Fanatic Sports Podcast, Tom. The reason why is because the folks that we are looking to tell our story to and appeal to and tell their story are the folks that are passionate about sports. Sports brings out the passion in all of us, particularly when it comes to your favorite team. And so that's why we say fanatic. Of course, fanatic is the synonym of passionate or crazy.
Right.
Whichever definition.
A little bit of both.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, but we love to know your story. What makes you tick? What team? What's your favorite team? And that's what we talked about. It doesn't matter, whatever level, Pee-wee, high school, college, pros, any sport, soccer, football, baseball, basketball, badminton, darts, you pick your team and you tell me the story of how you became a fan of that team.
Well, I like all the three major sports, I guess is what we'll call them: baseball, football, basketball.
Sure.
Started in the early 1970s. So we had a trip down to California with my family. And so we go to at that time, the California Angels team.
Hello, here we go.
And yeah. You know where they are now. So this isn't a good story. We got a World Series, which is good, but the last 10 years have not been so good. But this was before the Mariners. Everybody in my family and everybody around here are Mariner fans. But we went to the ballpark, got to see the Red Sox one game and see the Yankees and Louis Tiant and Carl Yastrzemski.
Wow.
And, back in the day. So just started loving them there. Frank Robinson was on the Angels at that time, and I'm up on the third deck yelling down, Frank, seeing if he would wave to me or something. Got nothing, but I'm 8. What am I supposed to do? So
it's not your fault, Tom. Frank couldn't hear. It wasn't you.
Anyway, it just I just loved them, and they were bad to start with. So I don't know. It is crazy. Why the heck am I even still here doing this? But anyway, I just, the first game that the Mariners had, actually it was against the Angels. So we went up to watch that in the Kingdome at that time, the brand new Seattle Mariners, first game ever playing, and they're playing my Angels. And I was probably the one in 66,000 people that was rooting for the Angels. But hey, we won 8-1. So, I was happy. Frank Tanana pitched. And anyway, like I said, I just fell in love with them then. And it's just, they're horrible at breaking my heart. 1986, Dave Henderson hits a home run, and Donnie Moore kind of gave up a big shot. And anyway, it was frustrating now, though, especially with Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout had been on the team and not be able to do anything. I've been crying for years that Artie Moreno just needs to sell the team and get some ownership in there that's going to do something. I like Ron Washington as a baseball guy and as a manager. I think he's a damn fine man, but he had some heart problems this year, so he stepped down, and talking about maybe bringing him back next year. But there's not enough urgency on that team. They still get the people. That's the thing. He's still making his money, and their attendance is still up there. But anyway, that's my passion with the Angels.
Yeah, wow. Listen, and so one of the interesting things I think about the Angels, and we're going to steer off course just a little bit. So I love Mike Trout and what Mike Trout has done in his career.
Yes.
But my knock on Mike Trout is that at some point, and I don't know, I can't say it, he can't make people hit the curveball, right? He can't play but the one position that they're allowing him to play. And so, it's not all on him, but I got to think at some point I have to question, what is Mike Trout doing in the locker room? What is Mike Trout doing in, during BP? What is he doing on their off days? And how is that different than, let's say, and I know this is one of the greatest, but a Derek Jeter, right?
Sure.
There were plenty of, look, man, Derek Jeter got Alex Rodriguez a ring. And Alex Rodriguez is, I'm not going to call him a terrible human being, but I know a lot of people that will.
He came from Seattle, so I'm well aware of that. He took the bag of money to go to Texas at that time.
There's a lot of people who would agree if I did call him a terrible human being.
So Here's my Mike Trout take, though. I mean,
Okay.
the guy has been MVP caliber
Sure.
the first 8 years of his career. He came into the majors not being able to hit a high fastball, and he still can't hit a high fastball. I watch game after game after game, and I'm saying he's making millions of dollars. Is there not a pitching or a hitting coach out there somewhere that says, hey, just do this? He's not getting any better. He's got to know he's going into that box seeing nothing but high fastballs. And I watch it game after game, and he's one of the leaders in strikeouts now up there. It's just frustrating. Like, how can a guy do that? I mean, there's got to be a way. Anyway, I love Mike Trout. I want more
awesome,
for him.
He's awesome. But all right, so what you said kind of makes me feel like, and so then that may ask questions. So one of the interesting things to me about baseball is that as we wind down the season, and I'm a Royals fan, so trust me, I know bad baseball when I see it. I've seen a lot of it.
Well, hey, your team beat the Angels the last time they were in the playoffs 3 straight. That's all Mike Trout's seen in postseason action right there against Kansas City.
Well, so the thing about baseball is that it's definitely a charisma has something to do with it. There's a lot of intangibles in baseball, and that bleeds into the team. I think that's why Michael Jordan kind of felt like he might have had a chance in baseball, because what we saw out of Michael Jordan was very, very, it's special in what he did, but at the same time, it was more about how he did the thing, when he did the thing.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Like, what he did wasn't good team ball, but he inspired his team. And you see that a lot and that's why I brought up Derek Jeter. I think there's something to the idea that the captain was able to bring together all those characters and big names who were getting paid big money by George Steinbrenner. And don't let me make you think I'm rooting for the Yankees by any stretch. But I have to tip my hat to Jeter that he was the leader. Everyone looked at him as the leader. He was the hardest worker, maybe one of the most talented guys in the locker room. And so that makes, for a Joe Torre or any of his managers, that makes him, it kind of almost reminds me of Tim Duncan down in in San Antonio. Same thing. They say that the rumor was that Popovich would just literally tear, or he would figuratively and metaphorically just tear Duncan to pieces to start the season. And this is your best player. And so if your best player can get undressed and get chewed out in front of God and everybody, well then, this is the story Steven Jackson tells. Well, I better get my shit together. So, and so that was the, it was that sort of, when you can make that talent, work that hard, or take that, or at least give the persona. And so I wonder, that was my wonder is what is Mike doing or not doing that's not, bleeding into the rest of that locker room. And if you're telling me he's what, because it's 10, 12 years in for him now, right? He's in his 30s, and he's been seeing a high fastball for 20 years. And you hadn't figured out, with all your greatness, on how to go top shelf and at least turn it into a single or anything. Right. I don't know. And again, to me, love what Mike Trout's done.
Oh, absolutely.
And again, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, then you know how special Ken Griffey Jr. is.
Oh boy.
And so if when you start saying names like that, and you start putting them, anybody you compare to Ken Griffey Jr., you better walk the walk and not just talk the talk. And unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, it seems like Mike Trout's done a lot more. And I don't know that he's done the talking, but a lot of people have done the talking for him. Sure. And he hadn't done the walking to match it. And so I often hate to get on a soapbox about it, but it's what I think. It's just like, man, I love what Mike Trout's done. I love the numbers. I pick him up in fantasy all day, every day. But I don't know about the work he's doing, what he's really doing for the rest of his team. And at that point, is it worth the money? Should you take the money? Would it help if he didn't take the money? I don't know what it means for Shohei, I have my feelings about Shohei as well, but I beat up on enough Angels, Tom, so I won't do too. But
Yeah.
I often think about that. It's like, man, Mike Trout he's a really special talent, and why has he not had the opportunities? And look, I'll also tell you, winning the championship's not. It's not just, you don't just wake up every day and win a ring, Tom.
No.
Well, or maybe you do, and the key is that the work you put in every day is the work that eventually shows up when it counts in those last final games this time of year and going into the playoffs, and then of course once that tournament starts, your ability to make the plays. It's the everyday, as Mike Tomlin says, the everyday routine things do routine things routinely. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely interested in that. Well, so, bringing up Mike Tomlin, maybe our best option, best lead into what we're here to do, Tom, is to talk a little bit of football to start.
Absolutely.
So we'll talk about everyone now. Before we get going, I know we got off the rails already. Talk to me a little bit about what college football means in the Northwest and out on the West Coast for all the sunshiners out there.
Okay, well, I don't want to say we're fair weather fans, but I mean, well, they always talk about the East Coast bias. Sure. We're starting our games a lot of times when you guys are going to bed.
Yeah.
So a lot of it doesn't get seen. Well, 2 years ago, the Washington Huskies, that's my college football team, played in the national championship against Michigan. Michael Penix in all his glory and did a great job. And I'm telling you right now, they are under the radar, and I absolutely love it. Yeah. They've got a guy playing quarterback, Damon Williams Jr., who is tearing it up. He can sling it. Oh. Jonah Coleman, their running back, is going to be playing on Sundays. I tell you. Denzel Boston's a great receiver for him as well. But passion. I mean, if you're talking West Coast and you got Washington and Oregon, that's one of the big rivalries really in the country. It really is. It's the old, they don't like each other type of deal. It's not. And unfortunately, the Oregon coach tries to go too far sometimes if you irritate him. So
he's always going a little too far to me. Lanning just feels like,
oh boy,
oh my gosh, it feels like he's trying to. It's like, hey, you're already like a top 5 team. You're getting all this field night money, so you're already being a little bit babied as is and being pampered a little bit as is. We don't have to You don't have to act like you got a chip on your shoulder all the time. I get it. Yeah. That gets some people up in the morning, but it's not just the most necessary thing. I can think of a few different times. One of the ones that really stuck out to me was not this past season, but 2 years ago, Deion's first year.
Yeah.
It was like, man, I get it. There's a better way to handle this. You're the incumbent. These guys they only won one game the year prior. Right. They only won 4 games that season. And it seemed like he was just upset. It's like, man, look, this is prime time. This is the greatest cornerback to ever lace them up. There's going to be a little bit of attention, and then they're doing all this flashy stuff. Let them do it. But there's no reason. I don't know. He rubbed me the wrong way, and I've kind of always felt that way about him.
And he took all that attention that Deion was getting because they won a couple games right away, and so now it's this and that, and to hear his speech of he's looking to get clicks. We're looking to play on the field. We're on the grass. This is where that game's going to get played. So I get. I mean, you can say what you want, but damn, he's done wonders with that Oregon program.
I was just about to say it. As much as I don't like him, it's hard to argue with what he's done as a coach for that because I think wasn't it Cristobal there before at Oregon before Lanning, or there was a guy there that was supposed to do well, and he didn't really do as
Yeah,
great.
there's a couple that have been through there. I don't think it was Cristobal though.
I don't think so. I forgot.
Yeah,
I
I
have to
can't
look it up
remember
now.
now.
But he was. I mean, there's been some names in Oregon, and
Oh yeah,
they haven't shown up. You know, I feel like Lanning may be one of the first to really to really kind of meet the expectations that we would have that we've had for Oregon for maybe the last decade or so.
yeah. Mike Bellotti was there kind of in the early 2000s, late 90s or something like that.
Okay.
He did a pretty decent job in there, but yeah, he's something. Like I said, he's something.
I feel like it well, okay, so all right, I'm looking it up now as we're speaking. We're looking at, I know Cristobal was there. I don't know the exact time he was there. Okay, here, Wikipedia says 17 to 21.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And then there, of course, Willie Taggart had a tough
Taggart.
Chip Kelly was
Chip Kelly. There we
they
go.
were the one that he was kind of the one that put Oregon back on the map.
Yep. So,
he made them like sort of a household name.
Sure.
God bless Chip Kelly, by the way. We'll get around to the pros here in just a bit. Who's your pro team? Is it the Niners? I see you got the Niners.
No. Same division.
Okay.
I got to be with my Seattle folks on this one. I'm a Seahawks fan. You know, and our fans, you know, for the stadium, for the team, they're the best fans in the world.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I tell you what, they think you're just supposed to be accepting of everything that happens and don't be critical of the team. And it's like, no, being a fan means that you expect some accountability. If something's not right, then fix it. You know, we won a Super Bowl. We've been to 3 of them now. You know, and some people are just, well, you're not a true fan. I'm like, bullshit. You don't know you don't know what being a fan means.
Absolutely. I would venture to say that if you don't criticize your team, you don't complain about your team, then I don't know that you are a true fan.
Right.
If all you see, and a lot of fair weather fans, so I'm here in the South, right? And that was why I asked you about the passion of college football in the Northwest, because I know that secretly or quiet is one of the well-kept secrets is that college football is big everywhere, obviously, but the Northwest in particular and out west, there's a lot of passion for the game.
Yeah.
But as in the South here, you know, there's a lot of folks who right now are LSU fans, and there were a lot of Alabama fans, and now there's a lot of LSU and Georgia fans because those are probably the 2 best teams in the conference. But you know, those folks who are fair weather, those folks who, and that's another reason I love to hear those fan stories, because with those fan stories, a lot of times you can kind of tell who's really into sports, who's really a fan. You know, we had a guy on, actually it was for our anniversary show. The gentleman who joined Alabama it certainly wasn't Alabama. It was the 90s Alabama team, so not quite as good. This was the end of Bear Bryant's run. And so, you know, and he stuck through some tough times. I will admit, for those Alabama fans who, and sadly, I got to send a shout out to my girls over at Sports Uncorked. They met at Alabama during the Mike Shula time period. So this is before Saban. Those Alabama fans that have been through all that stayed through the 90s into the early 2000s, God bless you. You deserve to enjoy every 6 ring, all of those 6 rings that they've gotten, or 5 or however many rings they've gotten. But there's a lot of folks who joined Alabama in the middle of it because they were winning, and that's no fun. You got to stay around and let Kalen DeBoer ruin your life a little bit more before I can respect you as a fan.
See, and I really like Kalen DeBoer. I mean, he did it for us. I mean,
he was great for y'all.
Hey, and he won in South Dakota. Everywhere he's went, you know. But man, this is Alabama. I mean, that's the epicenter. That's kind of the tip of it. And then following Nick Saban.
Yeah, you're following the GOAT.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
So one of the things I think that's been interesting, and so shameless plug right here, Tom. I am actually starting work, and I'm going to be producing a docuseries, which we will title Kings of Saturday. And it's talking about the greatest college dynasties. We're talking, Michigan, Texas, Georgia, of course, Alabama, could be at the top of the list. The Miami, University of Miami, USC, a lot of different, you think about some of those, even like the Nebraskas. Are you old enough to remember Nebraska and I'm sure you're old enough to remember them in the 90s if you said you were watching the 90s. So then you remember them in the 70s, right?
I remember the Tom Osborne days.
The black.
Yep.
So I'll tell you what, our offensive line coach when I was in middle school. So this was during that 97 run with Tommy Frazier and all those guys. Mm-hmm. This dude was just in love with that black shirt defense, and that's all he wanted for us was to be black, to play hard defense as well. And so I looked at some of the greatest dynasties. I did a little bit of research, looking through that, man. But that's one of the things you see is that the culture, whether it be you look at Miami in the 80s, you look at Alabama in the 2010s, even Georgia now, you can trace a few different things, and that culture you see a lot more nonsense. And it's not that Kalen's allowing more nonsense. It's just he's a little more loose, and I think a lot of that's got to do with the generation of children that are children, young men that are going to these teams. It's way different. I was actually about to ask you about because you mentioned Damon, and I know he didn't start off. I don't think he was recruited by Washington. I believe he was a transfer.
Yeah, he transferred. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that seems to be the case at pretty much everywhere these days. Other than the only two teams I can remember off the top of my head. Well, maybe three, I guess, because Georgia's doesn't have as many transfers that are coming in. Ohio State doesn't have a ton, as well as Alabama. They're the only two people I know that are starting people that they recruited.
Right.
The rest of the world has that portal has done wonders and tortured some programs because of the portal and, of course, the NIL. That it's a mess, but I'll root for it. I played college football at a small D2 school.
Sure.
And I was fortunate to have some family that was able to give me a few dollars every other week. But, man, what I've seen players do and not do, and even if the statute of limitation is up, I don't even want to talk about it. But it's just so bad, some of the things that some of these kids were doing just to eat, just to buy a Domino's pizza, things of that nature. So I'd rather the madness that we go through with NIL and the portal now than to go back to the way things were.
Sure.
When Reggie Bush said walking around money was $2,500.
Oh, man.
God bless him.
He hasn't got his Did he get his Heisman back? I thought they were giving it back to him, but I don't know if he ever.
They re-awarded him the honor of being a Heisman finalist. Okay. I don't know that the statue has gone back to him yet.
Okay.
But they've started adding back into the Nissan commercial. So I guess
I've seen that. Yeah.
Eventually he'll get his statue back, I would presume, and rightfully so. Man, that dude was an animal, and that's kind of what got me into this dynasty. You start reliving some of the nostalgia of those days. Now, I would love with all my soul to tie Arkansas into this somehow, and I'm still, that's what's holding my script up, is I'm having to figure out how, because we stunk a lot, Tom, a lot, but we it was so bad. It's like, all right, well, I wrote it down. I said we're gonna have to do an underdog story after we finish this dynasty thing, because I got to find a way to get us in there, but it won't be in the dynasty part, man. We've helped some people with their dynasties like Alabama and LSU, but we haven't done much for ours ourselves. So, but I mean, there's a level when you're looking at USC and some of those guys that the nostalgia has been pretty cool to go back and revisit. But the game of college football is very, very awesome, and quiet is kept, man. Like it. All over the country, but especially out in your area of the world, there is it's almost, I don't know if it's a religion for y'all like it is for us, but I mean, I know you guys stay up pretty late to watch your ball games. That's for sure.
Yeah, that we do. That we do. With me, that's okay because I'm working a lot of weekends now, so I don't get to see a lot of this stuff live. So
Yeah.
that's kind of been a downfall for this last year or so. I've kind of started working at our fairgrounds here in our county, and so
Okay.
Tuesday, Wednesday, my weekend's going right now. So I cut off and 2 days off, but not much action on Tuesday, Wednesday. So
Well, not unless you're a Mac fan.
yeah,
That's how. So I'm a Steelers fan in the pros, Tom, and that's how I ended
okay.
up knowing a little bit about Roethlisberger when he came out. It's just that you catch a lot of that matching on Thursdays and things of that nature. It's some good football, man. I will admit. And so one last thing I'll ask you about college, and then we'll step over into the pros. Now, with you being out there on the West Coast, talk a little bit about the conferences and kind of how the realignment has affected you and as a fan, and it's kind of what you guys have done as well. But I know there's still a Pacific Athletic Conference. There are currently, 2 teams in that conference?
Yeah, the Pac-12 is 2 teams. I think there's 7 more coming on, though.
Okay.
It's the Fresno States and I can't even remember what the list is. But right now, it's just Washington State University and Oregon State University. The thing about Washington State, though, Cam Ward was there, won the Heisman. John Mateer now at Oklahoma. That's where he came from.
Yeah.
And I think there was one more quarterback in there too that transferred out as well that went somewhere and did really well. But anyway, Gardner Minshew kind of did it for the Cougars at that point. He transferred in from somewhere else when Mike Leach was there coaching.
Yeah.
One little Steeler item though for you though.
Yeah,
we got a local hometown boy that actually went to the University of Washington, played tight end, and then went on to the Steelers and played for 7-8 years. I think Mark Bruner.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that name or not, but
absolutely.
Yeah, he's from our little town, Aberdeen, Washington. So,
and then his son has joined us as well.
Carson. He was. Did he get drafted or did they just?
Yeah, it was like 7th round, I believe it was.
Nice. Great kid. That's a great family, actually. Mark's a good guy. So
love that, man. And back to the old days of tight end, not these overgrown wide receivers. Mark actually could block. I was watching Travis Kelce last night, and I won't spend too much time talking about him and his relationships. His on the field issues have been more than enough in themselves. But he was, and I'll admit, positioning and get on a edge linebacker or something of that nature. But he gets on there, and who was it? It was I want to say it was Kareem Hunt was rushing for the touchdown last night because at the goal line, and so he gets his nose in there, and then he's positioned, and then he's looking back, and the play's not quite done. And I'm just watching him. I know he's not. I mean, look, and I get it. This day and age, we don't need the blocking tight end anymore. We apparently don't even need a fullback as much as I'd like to have one. But And here's the crazy part of all this, Tom. I always wanted to go to like La Tech or Washington or some of those places that were known for throwing the ball a whole lot because I love the pass block. It wasn't until later on in life when I learned to appreciate the run game. The blocking tight end and the H-back. Okay, so
right.
But I mean, shout out to Bruner, man. He was a grinder. He'd catch everything through his way, but he was more or less just he wanted to stick his nose in and knock out a linebacker. And
that's what. With him, that's what happened as a freshman at the University of Washington on the opening kickoff of the season playing Stanford. He just laid a guy out on the kickoff. It was a kickoff that he just absolutely laid someone out. So
love that. I love the passion and the collision of kickoff. So speaking of, what's your thoughts on the pro kickoff?
I don't know, man. They could shake hands for crying out loud when they're standing. I look at them like, seriously, they're 5-10 yards apart, and The guy's sitting back there 60 yards downfield waiting for the ball. I don't know. I get not wanting to have the hits, I guess, but I don't know. I don't. I hate them not having the kickoff, though. I don't want to go to the point where it's just, okay, get the ball to 30 and go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an important part of the game. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
they are running them a lot more back right now. So I guess.
Yeah. Which is more exciting. And, I'll be honest. I never thought I'd be this guy, but I missed the collision. I missed the big hits. But at the same time, I understand the necessary, the necessity for safety. And, I was watching something today. A friend of mine tagged me in one of our groups talking about Hines Ward and how Hines Ward was, I saw 2 blocks from him. And he was another one of those physical wide receivers who loved the, crazy to think that he was a option quarterback. But, I mean, it makes sense because he loved that contact as well. But the way he lays out now, the hit on Vontaze Burfict that most people talk about was a very clean shoulder to chest, good block. Then there was the one on Ed Reed. That was the other one they showed where he did put the point of his helmet into Ed Reed's chest. It was tough. I felt bad watching it now, but I do miss that, and it just seems like the contact portion of the sport isn't where it used to be. So. I would appreciate more good clean pop, right. but if it's at the expense of someone getting hurt, I'll stick with the rules committee on the things they're doing. But man, I don't know about this kickoff.
Right.
I don't know about the kickoff.
Even the quarterbacks, you look at where we are with quarterbacks now. There's 6 or 7 quarterbacks that weren't starting this week, and they don't have the big hits available on them anymore. Most of them, their injuries aren't coming from that anymore. So
one of the things that interests me more than anything, you remember about 10 years ago, it was a lot of the MCL, ACL, PCL tears. Now the Achilles are starting to become an issue. Najee Harris just went down for the season with an Achilles injury. And the most amazing thing, I watched the injury as it happened. No one around him. He was actually getting ready to take a handoff. So, I mean, he's 7 yards in the backfield. He always starts way back. And he just falls into a heap of flesh. And my goodness, man, I'm really interested in what's going on with these injuries and how they're happening that way. I'm not a big fan of it, but it is what's happening. And so I hate to see it, but it's a part of our game. And like I said, that a lot of non-contact injuries that are happening that are just amazing to think about, man. So that's definitely kind of it's piqued my interest for sure right now. Well, for those of you that may have just joined us or that are checking us out, definitely a pleasure to have Tom Sutera with us from the Rain or Shine Sports Network, man. Again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. This is great.
And a pleasure to have you with us, man, because we're just meeting kind of for the first time. I know we talked a little bit on Facebook, just a brief bit, but pleasure. You don't know me. I don't necessarily know you too well, so it's very nice of you to just jump on and come talk sports with us, man. But that's the beauty of this of what sports is it brings folks together. And so Mama's mighty proud of me for the work that I do, and I'm also excited for the opportunity to kind of create this create art and things like that. So I'll tell you what we'll do. When we're talking to pros, we want to talk a little. We'll talk a little about these undefeated teams. Okay. While Monday Night Ball is on, if you're keeping your eye on that. I've got great interest. Yeah, it's tight right now. For those who are watching, the Lions and the Baltimore Ravens. All right, so. As a Steelers fan, I am conditioned to say Ratbird, and I try very, very hard not to say that. And so, earlier today, I was sitting and eating with my mom. And she says, "Who's that on? Who's that playing?" It was almost like It was almost like Tourette's a little bit, Tom. I was really stopping myself from saying Ratbirds. It was like they're called the Ravens, Mom, the Ravens. They are, they're locked into a battle. It was tied at halftime. And right now the Lions are up 31-7, and they've actually got the ball, which is great. Do you do the fantasy sports?
I do, actually. Yeah, we got into a dynasty league here a couple years ago.
Dynasty league.
Keep your whole team, and then you just draft rookies every year. So, and there's trading and things like that. So, I was forced. Joe Burrow's one of my quarterbacks, so he's out. I have Aaron Rodgers. I did pick him up, so go Steelers with that one. And I got Jaylen Warren, so I'm a Steeler fan on that. For that guy
there you
too.
go. All right, good.
I never thought I would like watching the red zone because I was a traditional. I watch the games. I want to see every play. But heck, this is the way to go if you're playing fantasy football.
Yeah, you got to watch everything. You gotta see. So here's what we did this year, and we had the idea last year to do a fantasy football league. Another shameless plug on my part, Tom. If you got it and you don't be ashamed to do it. So we got, and it's actually kind of a creators league. I got myself and 11 others, a co-host, a couple folks that are regulars on our show and that I've worked with. And like I said, the way sports brings us together is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And the opportunity to get to do this content creating thing is really awesome. As a matter of fact, one of the guys that's in the comments right now, Tyron, from Sports Testimony, that was checking us out, he said he's definitely going to look into your podcast, and definitely a pleasure. And that's like I said, part of the reason we get to do this, man. But we did a content creators league, and there's a couple fans and a couple of my sponsors that have joined in. So it's really, really cool that we're getting to do this. But we are in, what is this? This is week 3. And my team's 2-0. Actually, Tyron is beating me right now, and so that's why I'm rooting. I was already rooting against Lamar Jackson anyways, but I'm definitely rooting against him and making sure that Zay Flowers doesn't do well because we need to. I need to catch up.
I got Zay Flowers on my team, so
do you?
Yeah. I'm going against Amon-Ra St. John, so he's probably lighting it up. So.
I really need Amon-Ra. I think that might be another league. I got Amon-Ra. I got David Montgomery, who's having an outstanding game. 117 yards and a touchdown.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, so which I need all of that to come back so I can stay 3-0. And I'll tell you why it's so important for us to win. So I didn't charge any money. I didn't. Actually, tomorrow night will be our week recap. And so each Tuesday we do a recap where we talk about it. So, a few people jump on and they talk about the teams, win or lose, it's an opportunity to create that content. But here's our motivation, Tom. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's called the Booty Blasted Award. So we're going to celebrate the winner. All right. Whoever wins the ring, God bless you. You did a great job. We're very proud of you. We're really going to celebrate the loser. Now, that may be the funniest phrase I've ever heard in my entire life, and a lot of people want to throw up when they hear it. But one of the guys in the league who also does content with us, his name is Freezy Sports. It is on Instagram. And while we were talking, so like I said, this was all about content, and so we did a game show style sports quiz. So NFL trivia in the like, think about like the Big Brother Big Brother show, and they have their games. So we had a game show style quiz to determine who got the pick first, and Freezy actually won that game show and thus won the first pick. And so, but he said, "Man, I hope I don't get booty blasted." And I'm 40, but don't tell anybody, Tom. I'm a bit immature, and so I giggled about that. We're going to make that the loser's award. So what's going to happen? And I'm buying one because I'm so proud of the work I did to make this. But I'm going to buy one for the loser, and they're going to have to go sit down with their trophy and this shirt, and They're going to have a
Perfect.
meal, and people are going to ask them what their shirt says, and it's going to say, and they've got to tell them, I got booty blasted in the Fanatic Sports Fantasy Football League.
There we go. That's good.
So, but in that league, and it's quite the motivation. But a very, very cool thing to get to do the fantasy, and then I've got a couple other fantasy leagues as well. That one of them is literally, Tom. It's literally again another league where I didn't spend a dime to get in it, but 3 years ago somebody said something mean about my team, and we have been. Football season is fiery in that group chat. every year, man. We don't even spend any money on it. We just go. It's trash talking at its purest and maybe most evil in that league. And so again, I solidified my win in that league. As a matter of fact, I booty blasted somebody in that league, so I won big in that. But the creator league, I'm having a little trouble in, and so I'm watching this. I'm keeping my eye on it with. Again, gotten the ball back. And so the back and forth between these two teams in the fourth quarter has been just crazy to think about. So we'll talk a little pros here. Let's play one of my favorite games, Tom. It's called Contender or Pretender. And so here's how it works. I'm going to show you the logo, and we'll start with this team. And you'll tell me if this team is they're 3-0. All 6 of these teams are currently 3-0 or undefeated. You'll tell me if you think they are a contender. And by contender, I mean not just make it to the playoffs, but an opportunity to you can believe that they might go to the Super Bowl and perhaps win it. Or if they're a pretender and we're just, and we're early in the season, but this is, these are the 6 teams that are left that are undefeated. So we'll start with the Chargers. You give me your thoughts, contender or pretender?
Well, being a Seahawk fan and Harbaugh being the coach, and Pete Carroll and him always had this fiery relationship. I didn't like him when he was coaching at San Francisco. But God damn, he can coach, I hated that the Huskies played against Michigan in the championship game 2 years ago against him. But he builds it, man. Defense is always solid. Offensive line is great. They got a great running back right now. Justin Herbert, it looks like Justin Herbert was supposed to look when he got drafted into the NFL.
Yeah.
They beat Kansas City. They beat Denver. They beat Las Vegas, all league teams. I think they can. I think they can be there. Their next 4, they got a shot to be able to get 4 more wins. So we'll see what happens. But I say yes.
Contender. And you know what? You make a very solid point. We are early in the season, but when you look at their schedule, and I'll tell you, there's something about winning that's one of the things I was writing in our script. And the first thing I wrote down is that winning cures all ails. You don't, there's something about, championship swagger. There's something about when you win in the face of adversity, what it means for your team and how it builds the confidence in your team. And like you said, look, these next 4 games for them should be W's. So, you get to about the midway point of the season with, maybe 1 or 2 losses, or and they beating the Chiefs out of the gate is a great start. I gotta go with it. I could say that I could see that team as a contender, making a nice playoff run. And this wouldn't be new for Harbaugh. He did it in San Francisco. Yeah. All the way to the Super Bowl there, and with what some might say is a better quarterback in Herbert than he had in Kaepernick.
Kaepernick, absolutely.
It wouldn't be hard to see them as a contender. How about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? 3-0 in the NFC South. I want to say that both Freezy and Freezy Sports too. Again, I'm very excited to say that I get to work with very sharp young minds that are NFL writers, and Freezy Sport and NFL playmakers. Ben Rodriguez both picked the Bucs as their NFC South champions. What do you think about them? Baker Mayfield in the group there, contenders or pretenders?
Well, a couple years ago, I would say with Baker Mayfield, no, but I mean he's shown it. Again, they beat Atlanta, they beat Houston, they beat the Jets. Not great teams. Houston has not played well at all, but they got 4 games coming up with Philadelphia, Seattle, San Francisco, and Detroit. San Francisco is not San Francisco right now.
Right.
Now losing Nick Bosa as well is not gonna help them at all. But I see them; they'll still win their division. They will.
Sure.
They'll win it again. They've won it last, what'd they say, 3 years in a row? I think
That's
something
right.
like that.
Okay.
I think. Oh, I don't know about a deep run though. I just
Okay.
don't know. I just, they've won by a total of 6 points on these 3 first games against those teams.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to equate into a deep run. I think it's a win the division and maybe 1 win, but I don't think they're going to get to even the NFC Championship game.
I'll agree with you again here, Tom. I love what Baker Mayfield's done. If you look into the statistics of Baker and what he's done and the way he's done it, and I believe it's Bowles as their coach. I always get him and Raheem Morris kind of confused.
Yeah,
but now I picked the Falcons to win that division. I thought this might be their time. Yesterday's showing does not prove me right.
Right.
But what the Buccaneers have done is there's something again to be said about the ability to win in the face of adversity. And you look at game 1, how the Falcons, basically Buccaneers pulled that victory out of the jaws of defeat there.
Yes, they did.
And that does say something. But these next 4 games I think are gonna be very, very telling. The Niners are still. They're not the Niners that we've known for the last 4 or 5 years, but they are a good team still.
Absolutely.
The Eagles, of course, are Super Bowl champions and hot as a 6-shooter. The Lions, another team we're looking at as Henry just fumbled. That defense is rip roaring, and the offense is still very, very good. So the Bucs, if the Bucs can pull off any victories, which they did beat the Eagles last year, I believe. They can win some games, but I just don't. I'm with you. I don't see them as a deep run team.
Right.
And so for that, I got to give them pretender. But I do believe that the thing about the Bucs is that they may not win a lot of games themselves in the playoffs, but they're gonna ruin some seeding.
Oh, absolutely.
They're gonna be a tough out either way. And so I like their team. I just don't think they're good enough to make that deeper run. The NFC is right now. This year, the NFC looks like it could be just a gunfire. I could name 12 teams in the NFC, and you would say, 8 of them's like, all right, I can see that. I can see them going. I mean, it's going to be just, a dogfight in the NFC. Staying in the NFC, talking about a team that the Bucs are going to see is the Niners. Now, I'll tell you with great certainty, as you said, this isn't the Niners we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years, where they're dominant as playmakers all over the field. However, they've got a better record to start than I think last year. And even with their newly paid starting quarterback out, they still have won games. Tom, how far do you see where do you see the Niners finishing up here, in the playoffs? What do you think, contender or pretender?
Well, I again, now I'm a Seahawks fan, so I mean you got to keep that into account.
It's okay if you want to be biased.
My favorite play ever was Richard Sherman making the tipping the ball and picking it off and doing his post-game interview at the end of it. And then he goes and plays for the 49ers. Come on. What are you going to do here? Anyway, I frustrated with Seattle that first game against San Francisco. I expected so much more out of them with Clint Kubiak bringing this great offense to Seattle and this and that, and it was so generic and plain, and I was like, oh, my gosh. But with the injuries they have, I just don't know how they can keep doing it. Can Christian McCaffrey stay healthy all year? That's one that's been tough all the time. They have Jacksonville, the Rams, Tampa, and Atlanta. How much can they do? I mean, they keep winning, like you say, even with the injuries they've had. I think the teams in the West are going to be so close. I don't know that there's going to be a clear division winner coming out of this. I'm hoping Seattle just kind of stays under the radar, and Mike McDonald's got a defense, man. I tell you what, I like
that's not a good. I mean to tell you what we saw it all last week, and
yeah.
I mean to tell you that defense is something.
But I don't know. I think the Rams probably, if Stafford can stay healthy, I think they probably will make the best run out of that. God, if they could get healthy, I would say they'd be a contender. If you're telling me that quarterback stays healthy all the way out and McCaffrey just has no problems, they're getting their receivers back here soon. I just don't know. I wouldn't bet on it. I would put it that way. I just wouldn't bet on it. I think they've played, New Orleans and Arizona as well. I don't think so. Yeah. I'm going to say pretender, man.
You know what? So the ironic part, we both said it here in the last 5 minutes that the Niners aren't the Niners of the past few years. But as it relates to the statement you just made, this is as true as it's been for the last 4 or 5 years, is that the Niners can be really good if.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that if usually has something to do with the right people staying healthy. And for whatever reason, other than 1 year, the right people have not been able to stay healthy. And McCaffrey's, he's dealing with a little bit now. Now they lose Bosa. I like Robert Saleh. I really like Shanahan.
I do too. I really do.
I've got a buddy at my church who's a Niners fan, and I said, man, look, at one point it was so bad offensively for the Steelers. I know we can't steal Mike Shanahan away, but I believe that old man Shanahan had a daughter, Kaylee or something, Shanahan, and I'd take her at offensive coordinator. He seems to have a gene. They do well, the Shanahans on the offensive end. And so I'm very impressed by what they do, but I mean, it's a lot to fight around those injuries, man. And every year with the Niners, the right people can't stay healthy long enough. And I believe you're right, man. You're looking at what they got to face the next 4 weeks alone, and then you're going the rest of the way without perhaps your second best defender. It puts you in a tough way. At some point, the attrition is going to take its toll, and for that, I'm with you. I can't say pretender. I don't know if we're on the right path. We keep matching. We keep matching. Here's one we will not match with. Okay. So this is the Buffalo Bills with the reigning MVP Josh Allen. And they look good again.
Yes, they do.
Talk to me. Tell me, pretender or contender?
You're thinking we won't match on this one?
I don't think we will.
Oh my! Said you've got a different outlook than I do.
Yes.
I would say yes, that they're a contender.
Okay.
I would definitely put them there.
It's hard to argue with you, but
I gotta hear it now. I gotta hear this.
My mama will tell you I'm hard-headed enough to do it, and here we go. I'm gonna call the Bills as good as they're gonna be all season, and they might win 15-16 games. I just think that there is something about Josh Allen that's in his head now against the Chiefs, and maybe he won't see him in the playoffs. It just doesn't work. I don't know why. He does everything so well, and it seems like they took Stephen Diggs away from him, and it seems like he got better. His tight ends, they give him, he has one solid tight end. They go get him another one that's supposed to be more of a playmaker. Neither one of them end up working out at this point, and somehow he still gets better. They do have the great running game. Their defense is solid now, but to me, I feel like they've missed their window because in the playoffs it takes playmakers, and they've got great schemes that are going to win them a lot of ball games, and you got a guy that'll run through a brick wall for a win. but at some point it's going to take a little bit more because you think about what they'll see, what I presume they'll see in the West, in the AFC. We're talking about, the Ravens. I almost said it again, the Radbirds. The Ravens. You'll see a hungry Steelers team. You'll see a Texans team that can be pretty good. Right now, best team in that conference is the Colts. So, but there's so much in the West that can be a trip up. And I believe that, you can out scheme the Bills other than, Josh Allen is going to make the plays he makes. And so until I've been proven otherwise, if I can see a conference championship run and maybe, a close loss or something like that, I'll always call them a pretender. And I know it doesn't have a lot of merit to it, but other than the fact that has Josh Allen been to a Super Bowl yet? And so, and I think that maybe, I think that, I'm also still a believer that the Chiefs will get healthy and turn this thing around as a lower seed and just cause all types of havoc. But for me, I've got to say pretender. But we'll go to another team here in the AFC West. But this is a surprise for me. But listen, we're seeing apparently it's no longer shout out to my girl Bailey on Twitter and Instagram. She says it's not Danny Dimes anymore. It's now Indiana Jones.
Okay.
So Daniel Jones, man, we've not seen. This is the Daniel Jones that the Giants traded up and picked number 6 over all those other really great quarterbacks who've had great runs. To see what he's done, even yesterday in what was kind of a blowout, where the offense didn't have to do as much, he still was a leader and a playmaker. Man, the guy's been phenomenal. Great run game behind him, which, again, I have to question that because I don't know if you heard, but the Saquon Barkley kid's apparently pretty good also.
I've heard that as well. Yeah, I've heard that as well.
So what is Jonathan Taylor doing that Saquon apparently wasn't? I don't know, but this is a whole brand new team, brand new Daniel Jones that we've ever seen, and they are 3-0, and not just 3-0, but they are dominating
really
everyone that they're playing. They even made what some folks would call the best defense in the league last year. The Broncos look like amateurs. What are you seeing? Can they keep this up or not? Are they contenders or are they pretenders?
Well, you look at the division that they're in with Jacksonville, Houston, and Tennessee. And what is Houston? I mean, Houston has done nothing this year. They're 0-3. Tennessee is 0-3. Jacksonville, surprisingly, at 2-1. But it's Daniel Jones. He had flashes with the Giants a little bit, and the Giants haven't had a support in cast whatsoever for offensive line or anything for it. But they're playing the Rams this coming weekend.
Okay.
I think the unbeaten streak is over this weekend. Okay. I think that's coming. And but I see him winning the conference. I do. I see him winning the division. I mean, not deep though. Not this year. Not too deep. They're going to be the same type of deal. I think. I just don't see them. They may win a playoff game because I think they'll win their conference there. But
so I'll tell you what. Either way this goes, from a fantasy standpoint, I am not playing the Rams defense just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case,
Sure.
because I played the Broncos defense and I lost 5 points to Indiana Jones in the group there. But I don't know. I'm definitely not going to put them in a for real category. I think I could see them winning their division. I just don't. I just can't say that they are going to be when again the West is going to be, or I'll say the West, the AFC is going to be such a it's going to be minefields for the Ravens and the Bills. I believe that those are the two teams that we'll see in the conference, in the conference championship. I don't know if the Chiefs will make it that far. I think they're
Right.
they may be one of those minefields for any number of teams. But and which would be really cool if both Lamar and Josh Allen have been waiting. It seems like waiting their turn and being dominated by Pat Mahomes. But you look at this Colts team; they're a team that could be a minefield. There's a number of them. But my only thing is they soundly beat the Broncos, and that's a really good defense.
That surprised me. Yep.
That's a really good defense, and I think there'll be a lot more surprises, but I'm just not. I don't think the biggest surprise will be if they made it to the Super Bowl. Boy, howdy, what would that do for the Giants if the Colts made the Super Bowl?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's really something. Well, look, so we'll talk about the Rams. You spoke about the Rams, which is who the Colts will see, and they should be the team that I should be showing next, but they're not. Because somehow, which don't get me wrong, Jordan Davis is 6'6", he's 336 pounds. That is a very large man. For what it's worth, I'm 6'5" and I'm nearly 400. So I know exactly what kind of man he is, and I'm not in great shape, and he's only like 24 or 25. He's in terrific shape, I would imagine.
Right.
So I could understand why you might have let him leak up the middle and block that kick, which should have won the game. But my goodness, I'm not sold that I just feel like if you get the paycheck, you got to do something, man. You can't let this guy get through. But that's exactly what happened. Is the Eagles once again, because that. I want to say the Rams gave them their hardest run throughout the playoffs.
They did.
Not the Chiefs, not the Commanders. Nobody else gave them a good game all playoffs other than the Rams. And again, we see an instant classic from them yesterday. But the Eagles prevail. They're 3-0. In their division. Talk to me a little bit. They're Super Bowl MVPs or the Super Bowl, the reigning Super Bowl champions. And it's kind of hard to win back-to-back Super Bowls or even get back-to-back Super Bowls, unless you're Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes.
Right.
Talk to me about this Chiefs team. What do we think? Are they contenders or pretenders?
God, I think they have the ability to contend. It kind of reminds me of I think it was 2 years ago when they went on that big skid at the end of their season and everything was going wrong. And obviously there was internal problems, coaching problems.
Yeah.
Last year they ended up firing their coordinator in the middle of the year and ended up winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But they're so nonchalant about the whole thing. I mean, not wanting to be out on the field for the presentation of the banner and not we got nothing to defend. We're not the defending champ. This is a new season. I just don't know, man. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Played Dallas. I hate Dallas anyway. So
who doesn't?
Well, I really love to talk about Dallas nowadays. This is nice. But I don't see anybody else really. I don't know that the Commanders are going to be quite what they were last year in that division as well. I think Philadelphia's. I have to say yes because I haven't seen anything different, but they have not. Their passing game is just. I don't know. I didn't follow a whole lot of yesterday, so I don't know. Did they throw the ball around a little bit finally?
Actually, they did. They did get the passing game going.
Okay.
In particular, they got A.J. Brown going.
And
he ended up having a very big game with a good number of. He had a touchdown, a good number of yards.
Okay.
And so they did finally kind of get it going around the yard, but it took a while to get going. It was late into the second quarter when AJ Brown got his first catch, and then after that, he kind of it seemed like him and Jalen Hurts got on the same page there, and it was dominant. Just a quick update. I was looking at the schedule, and I saw that the Lions did finish off the Ravens, and after that Henry fumble. But they are. Yes, absolutely. The Eagles did get going in the passing game. It took a little bit, and I was just gonna mention the next 4 games in case you were wondering are the Bucks, which defensively I think that might be a little bit of an easier battle. I don't know, but the Bucks are a hungry team.
Sure.
Then they see the Broncos, they see the Giants, they see the Vikings. That may be the 3 top defenses in the league. Now I know that the Giants offensively have lots and lots of trouble, but that defense is mean and nasty. I don't know if you got to watch that ball game last night.
I did, yeah.
Good gosh almighty. That defense is filthy. I mean, they kept I got a little worried, and I'm not a Chiefs fan by any stretch of the imagination. I'm actually happy to see these struggles for them. But to watch the Chiefs and the way they struggle, they struggled against that Giants defense is a constant reminder to me that defense is filthy.
Yeah.
And so, oh man, I keep forgetting to go to the comment section. Instagram's comments don't come to StreamYard, in case you're wondering.
Okay.
We've had some really great comments. Our co-host Anthony Roman is on. Shout out to him. Shout out to one of our sponsors, Valencia, V Big Baller from V Fit down in Houston, saying what's up. Yeah, man. If I'm picking, I'm gonna say contender. That team is deep for the Eagles, but we'll know in about 4 weeks where they really are. Because I think they're gonna struggle with the Giants defense. I think they're gonna struggle with the Vikings defense and lose to the Vikings. I think they'll beat the Bucks. And I'm guessing they're gonna beat the Broncos. But I don't hold me to that one. They're going to struggle with that one as well. But I just feel like this is. I didn't pick the Eagles to win the division. I picked the Commanders to win the division, and stick with the trend that the NFC
no repeat
will not have a repeater. I think it'll be probably 5 years before they have an actual repeat winner.
Hasn't it been like? Isn't it 20 years?
It's been 20. It's been 20 in the NFC East. But I do have the Eagles. I think they'll make a run. I can see them in a conference championship game against, because I think what's going to happen in the NFC North is the Packers and Lions and Bears and Vikings are all going to eat each other alive. And I think the Lions are going to come out of it, and one of those other teams is going to meet one of them, or trip them up, and maybe the Packers. Right. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of like I said. The NFC this year is just full of contenders, if you will, and then the AFC is just full of landmines that Baltimore and or Buffalo's got to get through. So I think that there's a lot of danger there. Who we got left here? Eagles, Colts, Niners, Bills. I think we hit them all. My goodness, look at us go! Yeah, efficiently working. But no, man, I mean to tell you, Tom, the divisions are going to be. Just messy, which I am a cheerleader for. In general, I love chippy football, and I love Chippy's playoff time, and I love messy division. You remember those years? A couple years it was in the NFC West, and a couple years in the NFC South where there were some 8-win teams that would win the division. I know the Saints did it one year. The Seahawks did it one year.
The Seahawks were 7-9 and took on the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, they did.
And beast mode went freaking wild.
The Beastquake
on that run that he had. Oh, what a guy, man! I miss that son of a gun. He is so good. They had some characters out there. And so what was your experience with our old man Russell Wilson?
So you know what so here's what I thought for Russell Wilson is the same thing that I now think for Aaron Rodgers. I was excited after having Kenny Pickett for 2 years, and I will tell you I had high hopes for Kenny Pickett. The only thing that two things rubbed me wrong about Kenny Pickett. I don't know if you remember this. It was probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. His last year at Pitt. He was about to go. He did the fake slide. You remember that? Yeah. Where he looked like he was going to fly. Yep. and then he kept running for another 10 yards. I knew that we were going to draft him, and I still wanted his head torn off. And I'm not a defender. I'm an offensive tackle, Tom. I'm a lover. I'm a great hugger, and I'm a thinking man. On defense, when I played defensive tackle, I was the Hulk. I was a mindless beast, and all I did was just shoot the A gap or try to blow up the guard and tackle or the guard and center, and that was all I did. It wasn't any thinking for me. So I love offense. I love quarterbacks. I hug quarterbacks. All right, I hug my running back. I don't hug receivers because they're divas.
They are, true
they're
story.
big hand sassy divas.
You got DK now. You got DK now.
Speaking of divas,
he's a talent. Right? He's a talent.
Until he doesn't get the ball. But yes, no, I love quarterback, but I wanted his head ripped off for that because that's taking advantage of a safety to take care of you.
Oh, absolutely.
That was the first red flag for me. But then up until that point, I was a Kenny Pickett defender. Shout out my man Doug, who also, at that time he had Justin Fields, and I kept telling him, "Oh, Kenny's better than Doug, or Kenny's better than Justin Fields," right? And so, I didn't like him when he decided he didn't want to compete anymore. That was I wasn't a fan of that. Look, man, we all got to work hard. We all got to overcome something. You can't just expect for it to be handed to you. And so from that point, and obviously they got rid of him after that. But what I thought I would get with Russell, because we had bad coaching offensively. Our offensive coordinator was terrible. Yeah. He didn't communicate. He couldn't educate. He was a bad mesh. And he was certainly not that Tomlin's got a tree, but Tomlin's got a way about him. And all of his coaching staff is supposed to do that. And Matt Canada did not get in line with that. And living down here in Baton Rouge, I've heard a lot more awful stories about Matt Canada, but I don't want to spend too much time degrading him. He does it enough for himself. But I thought my problem with Kenny Pickett, the biggest problem I had, the biggest problem was that he didn't, he did it once against the Ravens. He saw main coverage on George Pickens and threw a bomb for a game-winning touchdown. And I needed to see more of that. And so when we got a hold of a Russell Wilson, and same thing with Aaron Rodgers, what I expected from Russell was for you to say, hey, I know what we're calling Arthur Smith, but I'm a 12-year pro, Super Bowl, two-time Super Bowl appearances, and I've even won one. So I know what to see. I know what to do. I've seen enough football that I can make a smart call here. And too often we didn't see that from Russell, or it didn't seem like we were seeing it because we would go 3 and out, and we didn't score first quarter touchdowns, and just a lot of measures that just didn't work out for me. And I'm a huge Russell fan, or I was. And you bring up Marshawn, you bring up Beast Mode, and something. There's been these rumblings. At first I didn't like Sean Payton. I hated the way that he treated Russell. And I still don't like the way that Sean Payton handled it. That was very immature and childish for a grown man to handle other grown men. And this is a guy that won a Super Bowl, and the city of New Orleans still loves him. Yeah. And God bless him for winning that Super Bowl when they needed it the most. Sure. But the way that he handled Russell was terrible. But I found out that Russell's too busy. He is what Sean Payton said. He's too busy worrying about kissing babies and shaking hands. But when it's on, the pressure's on. There's certain things that I expect from a quarterback, and Russell didn't show that. And that's just it's tough to say because of how much I like Russell and I like his family and what he does in the community. But at the same time, man, like I won't worry about his whole personality, even though I've heard a lot of character flaws that don't sound great. One of the things that any good Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger and all the legendary quarterbacks, Drew Brees and all of them, would have definitely have turned around and handed that ball back to Marshawn one more time and given him that touchdown, and let's finish this game and go home. But I think his ego's big. I think that was part of it. There's been a lot of stories floating around podcasts and stories floating around the internet that don't support the really awesome persona that he's given. But all in all, look, we won 10 ball games. We made it to the playoffs, and I'm never going to be sad about that. I thought if we would have brought him back, I would have been okay with it. I personally would have rather had us keep Justin Fields, but he didn't want to be kept. Understandably so, but also in that same vein, talking about Justin Fields, I know he went 4-2, but you only scored 19 against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys were missing their top 5 defenders. So if you want to know why you didn't get to keep your job, look back at that Cowboy game. and the irony is that I believe that the Jets played the Cowboys at some point, and he looked bad. And he went again. He didn't look great against them. But I mean that's the result. It's a result-driven league. You win games, and people will say you're good. Tim Tebow beat the Steelers in the playoffs, and they called him a legend ever since. As a matter of fact, he won a Heisman. Speaking of dynasties, he won a Heisman with Florida, throwing screen passes to Lewis Murphy and Percy Harvin. Percy Harvin should have won the Heisman, not Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
But I won't get on that soapbox. You don't have that much time. You saw me at your weekend, and I don't want to ruin it for you.
Yeah.
But no, man, listen, man, we've had a blast, dude, and it's absolutely a pleasure. I can guarantee you'll have plenty more invites on my end. And I certainly hope you'll want to come back and visit with us often, man. We'd be happy to have you if you'll come back.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's been great. Just the one Ben Roethlisberger thing. I think in the Super Bowl against some team called Seattle, I don't think he got in. I think that knee was down before the ball went across the goal line. But I don't want to get into that. It's my weekend now.
I was not going to bring it up because I have a friend who is a Seattle Seahawks fan, and we don't talk during football season for that reason. And that's been, what was that? That was almost 20 years ago now. Listen, I don't know that he wasn't down, but someone else said that he wasn't.
Yeah.
And actually that Super Bowl is the reason I'm probably a fan of the Steelers. Like I said, I watched the MAC a lot, and I was just so interested, right? So I'll tell you a story and we'll get off. So my brother was talking about Phillip Rivers from North Carolina State. And one of our very good friends was somehow a Giants fan deep down in East Arkansas. He's from East Arkansas. He's a Giants fan. And so naturally, he was so excited to get a hold of Eli. We had just watched Eli tear us a new one, tear the Razorbacks a new one. And we knew this kid was money, and his last name certainly did do it, and he didn't hurt him either. So I said, have you guys seen this Roethlisberger guy that just went to Pittsburgh? But Pittsburgh has an outstanding defense and a great running game. There's no way he can fail. And they go, "Oh, Joe, I'm baby brother." So they were just like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." Guess who's got a sports pod now, guys? Who's right? No. So I said, man, you guys watch it. So they had a really great rookie season. The next season, I get to say I told you so. 2 years after that, we get to say I told you so again. And 2 more years after that, man, look, I'm almost ready to say I told you so again. And so, and actually it wasn't until 2010 when we lost to the Packers that I realized that I was a Steelers fan, right? So it's crazy how this works, man. You go through so much positive, and you're like, oh, that's great. This feels awesome. I'm a Royals fan, and so 2015, I was very much rewarded for my 5 years of loyalty to that fan with a World Series win. But what I remember more about the World Series of 2014, just like the Super Bowl in 2009, 2010, or whatever, was just that I said, man, we lost. That sucks. Wait. Am I a Steelers fan? And that's, I can't tell you much about the wins other than, now I did watch more of that Cardinals game than I did the Seahawks wins, but
Right.
I watched that most of that Packers game, and I was just, blown away, devastated, and Rashard Mendenhall, wherever he is, I don't want nothing bad to happen to him, but if his kids left a Lego in a shoe, okay, if he's got to walk through the dark and stub his toe, that's what I'm wishing on him this week. I want both of those things to happen to him. Hang on to the dadgum ball. Anyway, Tom, man, I appreciate you again, man.
You bet.
Tell everybody where to find you before we go.
Yep. Well, we have it's a Rain or Shine Sports Network. We're on Facebook and YouTube. I've got a page there as well. We do a lot of local stuff, and then every Wednesday we get together. My son and I get together, and we do a recap of all the games from each week, the pro games. Yes, we pick each game, and then we go through the. We have a little parlay section that is for entertainment purposes only, because in the state of Washington, we can legally have methamphetamines, a small amount for ourselves, but I can't bet $5 on the Seahawks, Anyway, I guess I don't want to go there. Yeah. We have Indian casinos now that do have some sports books, but we can't do anything fun on the internet or anything else. Anyway, those are for entertainment purposes only, because sometimes we're way off base when we bet anyway. So if you take our advice, you're on your own. If you win, hey, great. Throw us a tip if you like. But if you lose, we told you so. Anyway, so I post that. We do a recording. We don't do a live show yet with that. We'll start doing that soon. We have done a playoff deal, though, the last 3 years. Actually, I get 4 or 5 guys together, and each kind of pick teams and kind of explain how our team can win and things like that. So it's just a lot of fun, and again, this has been a whole lot of fun as well. I really appreciate you reaching out, and
of course,
and I'd love to do it again.
Well, let me know if there's anything I can do, and I say this to all my guests, and it's because I only invite people that I think are pretty cool and that are good to talk to, and I haven't missed yet, Tom. So if there's anything I can do to help you, and that's the first thing I said to you even before inviting you on the show, is that if there's anything I can do to help you, whether it be producing anything live for you or recorded or whatever, man, let me know. You like I said, you pick my brain, whatever. I only pretend to know everything. And believe it or not, sometimes I'm actually wrong. Don't tell anybody. Nobody will know that unless they see this episode. But I whatever I learn, man, I'm happy to share it. It's a pleasure to do it, and again, a pleasure to work with you.
You betcha.
Tom, man, I can't say thank you enough, and I'm looking forward to doing more and seeing more of all the work that you do, and hopefully being a part of some of it if I'm needed. So, to everybody that's watched this, man, shout out to the comment sections and all the different platforms that we're on. Look forward to more and more work. Tomorrow night is the fantasy recap. Really quickly, I guess I should pump that before we go. The Fanatic Sports Podcast fantasy recap, which, by the way, speaking of booty blasted, so Tyron has been the top scorer in our league. And I just beat him by 45 points thanks to David Montgomery and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So super excited. And in the other league I was telling you about, where it's a lot of trash talking, I just traded Jahmyr Gibbs, and he ended up not having such a great game. So I look like a genius right now. Don't tell anybody I'm not, but I look like one. So shout out to all our comment sections. Shout out to everybody that's all of our creators and everybody that works with us. Definitely happy to add you to that, Tom. Anything before we go? Last word.
One last thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a hot take for the weekend.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure it's going to be the outcome that I want, but I think Washington Huskies are going to give Ohio State all that they can handle this weekend. It might be 98 points scored in this one, I'm telling you, because their defense is a little suspect, but they're going to score. So The over-under is 51.5. I would just bet that. I think you're good with that.
We'll
There
take
you
the
go.
over. I'm taking the over on that. I'm actually doing that. I'm going to do that after this. Also, I send everything like I tell you. Open clips. We're gonna do a I told you so on this one because I got a feeling you're right about that. Great call. Huskies over the Buckeyes in this one. I like it a lot. Well, to everybody watching who's apparently about to make some big money off of our guy Tom, we appreciate everybody joining us. Thank y'all so much for watching the Fanatic Sports Podcast. And as I always say, tough times don't last, Tom. Tough people do, man. Thank y'all for watching episode 53 of the Fanatic Sports Podcast.